Hello and welcome back to another episode of TEW9. We're going to do a Raw and Smackdown in this episode just to try and get us speeding up to catch up to real life a little bit. And in the pre-show, we've got Bronson Reed defeating Rey Mysterio and R-Truth in 8 minutes 39, getting a 63 rating. Not too bad. If you are happy to hear that we are back with this series, please do leave a like down below. Comment what you want us to try and do. Who do you want us to push? Subscribe, and let's get into the next match, which sees the Von Erichs defeat the Coffee Brothers in 10 minutes 11. Gets a 50 rating. The crowd didn't really care, which is to be expected because I think both of these teams are unimportant. But it gives us a good idea of what we can expect once we get these guys a bit of a push and get the crowd caring about them. Next up, we have Penta El Zero Miedo defeating Akira Tozawa with a Fear Factor. Gets a 53 rating. And I believe we've got the main show next. We do indeed, and we start off the main show with a fantastic 88 rating as CM Punk opens Raw. Says Dom has been talking a lot, but the fact is he won't ever be as good as his dad, whichever one happens to be his real dad. Obviously playing into the fact of Ray and Eddie having that battle for custody. Dom and Liv come out to respond, and Dom says Punk should know what having a deadbeat dad is like, and he also knows that Punk is as fragile as Rey Mysterio, his own dad. So, couple of shots at Punk there. I believe there's something about CM Punk. Part of the reason he's straight edge is to do with his family problems, including his dad. So, thought we'd play into that, and then play into the injuries that he's had in past years as well. Rhea then interrupts, but before she can do anything, Dom and Liv run away into the crowd as Punk mocks Dominic Mysterio, running away from Rhea. Following that, we have Seth saying now that he's back, he's after revenge on Bronson Reed. Gets a 68 rating. Just a nice short little interview segment. We will be seeing Seth Rollins in action probably next week. I don't think I've got him booked in tonight. And then after that, we have a wild brawl that had a 64 rating. Bron Breakker defeating Dragon Lee with a Steiner recliner, making defense number 4 of the Intercontinental Championship. Get a 64 rating. Dragon Lee really not holding up his end of the bargain there. And after the match, Bron Breakker says he's welcoming any challenger, and Braun Strowman comes out. He comes out, they end up having a little brawl, and then Braun manages to grab Bron, throw him out of the ring. He's like bouncing back up the ramp. Bron Breakker getting a bit more than he asked for. Unfortunately, the angle idea that we used was a failure, but gets a 48 rating, so it's still not too bad. Next up, we have Scarlett saying, you have made a mistake by putting your hands on me last week. I did just get interrupted by the Amazon Alexa. 42 rating there. Next up, we have Xavier Woods defeating Joaquin Wilde with a Shining Wizard. It was just a bit of a squash match. Gets a 40 rating. I forgot to remove Kofi Kingston as manager, unfortunately, so just pretend that wasn't there. And then after the match, Kofi comes out trying to reason with Xavier Woods, and he just walks away from him. 49 rating, as the New Day dissension seems to be continuing. Xavier Woods having no interest in speaking with Kofi. And next, obviously, we had Damian Priest win a shot at the championship last week, and Gunter says he's looking forward to facing Damian once again. Damian walks in and just reminds Gunter, don't forget, at SummerSlam I lost because Finn Balor got involved. Gets a 55 rating. Another angle that was a failure, which is very unfortunate, but we can, probably should have already done so, book in Damian Priest versus Gunter for the World Heavyweight Championship. And it turns out I was wrong. We did have Seth Rollins on the show, and he comes back with a banging match. Gets a 78 rating, and he defeats JD McDonough with a curb stomp in 14 minutes 15. 78 rating is absolutely fantastic. Creative finish. Finally, we've had something that was a success. And after the match, Bronson Reed attacks him. He gets him set up on the announce table, goes for the tsunami off the barricade. Seth Rollins this time gets out the way. Bronson Reed crashes through the table himself. 71 rating as Seth gets away from another attack by Bronson Reed. And then backstage, Kofi Kingston is walking, conflicted over what's been going on. And here comes Xavier Woods. He attacks Kofi Kingston once again, beating him down backstage. As Xavier Woods officially says the New Day is done. Next up in about, just to give a bit of momentum to Natalya, she defeats Zoe Stark in 6 minutes 25 with a sharpshooter, getting a 53 rating. And after the match, we see Liv Morgan was watching, and then Rhea Ripley comes out behind Liv. She runs away from Rhea, slides into the ring, doesn't even realise all of a sudden she's in the sharpshooter. Liv Morgan tapping out to the sharpshooter as Rhea Ripley laughs. Natalya has a bit of a hint that maybe she can win this women's championship. And next up we have our main event segment. CM Punk issues an open challenge, and he does everything he can to kind of tease Dominic Mysterio into coming out. But instead it's Chad Gable. 75 rating. I didn't want to do CM Punk versus Dom yet. I just thought CM Punk and Chad Gable would be a fun match to have. So let's see what they can pull off. 67 rating because I didn't really click. That's a big shame. However, despite that, CM Punk does defeat Chad Gable with a go to sleep. Dominic Mysterio tried to distract CM Punk, but it didn't work. And after the match, Dom, obviously unsuccessful, but he taunts CM Punk saying, I would have a match with you, but you're probably injured again, unfortunately. So I can't really do that, can I? 75 rating as Dominic Mysterio walks away. CM Punk looking a bit annoyed at the fact that he struggled to beat Chad Gable. They had a good match, and Punk had a bad landing after the distraction from Dominic Mysterio caused him to take a German suplex. But the match gets... Well, the show gets a 66 rating. I think it would have been a lot better if we'd not had two angles fail and then the bad chemistry in the main event. That really kind of screwed us over a bit. Very unfortunate. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go straight into SmackDown and get both of them done in one go. And we are back for the SmackDown portion of the episode with Roman and Jimmy opening SmackDown. They call Jey Uso out to the ring. Roman explains he's sorry for what happened last year with the whole tribal combat, and he's sorry for Crown Jewel when he accidentally speared Jey Uso, and says we need to work together at War Games to stop Solo Sikoa. We get a 76 rating for this, and Sami Zayn comes out, says he wants in on War Games. But Roman tells him no, because he's not family. Now, I know this is like exactly what they did in real life. I promise you, despite the fact that this is way after, I planned this out well in advance, and that is exactly what I had planned. It's very unfortunate that it looks like I'm copying real life. I did it first, I just didn't record it first. So, yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. After that, we see LA Knight backstage. He says, I'm not done with Carmelo Hayes. I want my rematch for the United States title next week. It's a 75 rating, which is very nice. And that is going to be confirmed straight away as being booked. So this time, LA Knight gets his match, but no Andrade involved. So we'll get to see whether LA Knight can win it back one-on-one. Then we go into the ring with Carmelo Hayes defeating Cedric Alexander in 7 minutes 49. Gets a 65 rating, and it was designed as a high spots match. After the match, we get the actual confirmation. Carmelo does accept LA Knight's challenge. I know we've technically already booked it, but don't worry about it. 62 rating there as the crowd remains hot, which is always nice to see. I'm a little bit worried about what's going to happen with our main event, but we'll see what that comes out with. I'm hoping it comes out good despite a bit of a risk that we've taken. After that, we have Nick Aldis tell Nia she made a mistake last week breaking up the number one contenders match, because as a result of that, she's going to defend the title in a triple threat match at Survivor Series. So we are adding that in. Triple threat. Naomi, Bailey, and Nia Jax. And as that's being booked in by Nick Aldis, Tiffany Stratton's just stood on the side. You can see a little mischievous look on her face. Does she want to make it a fatal four-way, or is she thinking of that Money in the Bank contract? Next up, we have a bout that had a decent reaction from the crowd, but subpar wrestling, 51 rating. Luke Gallows defeats Angelo Dawkins in 9 minutes 1 second with a bicycle kick. We are doing one of the classics where each member of the tag team faces the other member of the tag team, which means straight after this, we go into a 57 rated match where unfortunately Montez Ford and Carl Anderson don't click, which means it only manages at 57, but it's still a decent match for us. But after Montez Ford gets the win, AJ Styles says, "Unfortunately, mate, your night isn't over. We've got 3 members of our team, so it's not our problem you've not got anyone for me to face." AJ Styles versus Montez Ford right now gets a 59 rated match. So the idea we've got is kind of, it gets announced, Montez Ford goes for a quick roll up, nearly steals the win, but then AJ Styles takes control and gets the win relatively easily, apart from that minor scare at the start of the match. The club once again stand tall over the Street Profits, 56 rating, and the Street Profits desperately in need of somebody to help them out. Obviously, Bobby Lashley is no longer in the WWE. Next up, backstage, Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline attack Jimmy and Jay. I forgot to put Jacob Fatu into this one by accident, but gets a 59 rating as they beat down Jimmy and Jay backstage, meaning Roman is the final man to target. Next up, we go back into the ring with Bailey defeating Candice LeRae, just to give her a bit of momentum after she's had a couple of losses recently. 61 rating, which is pretty good for her. And we are heading into the final couple of segments now. And first of all, we are announcing the Motor City Machine Guns have been added to the main event. So the main event was already set to be DIY versus the Bloodline versus Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin. The Motor City Machine Guns are added into the match, getting a 51 rating. The ladder match, and it gets a 62 rating. That's not too bad. I was a little bit worried that this was going to absolutely bomb, because I know these two are both unimportant. I believe one of the Bloodline is also unimportant. None of them are like in the major star or star sections. So we took a risk with that. However, Baron Corbin is the man that wins the tag team titles. Bit of a shock victory there. A relatively new team picking up the titles, the Bloodline losing them. And after the match, Roman Reigns comes out to take out the Bloodline. I'll cover it now. The segment gets a 75 rating. However, as Roman Reigns is attacking Tama and Tonga Loa, he gets attacked by Solo, Tala Tonga, and Jacob Fatu. And who is it that makes the save? Because there's no Jimmy and Jay. Sami Zayn comes out to make the save, hitting everybody, everything that moves, with a steel chair, absolutely throwing it around. Whoever gets in his way, smash him over the head. And then at the end of that brawl, Roman Reigns realizes Sami Zayn has saved him from that beatdown. Despite that Roman shunned him at the start of the show, Sami has come out good for him, and Roman Reigns gives Sami a big hug. And it's clear they've got their 4th man for War Games. 55. Oh, good God. Why did that get a 55? We had like 2 segments that low down. I don't understand why that's just happened. If you know why that's so low rated, please do let me know. So unfortunately, that also means that we've got a few networks unhappy. We definitely need to start hitting those ratings, otherwise we're going to be in big trouble. Industry veterans have singled out Bron Breakker as a future star on the rise, which is nice to see. And not really anything else to go over in this section here. But one step closer to Survivor Series. We are 14 days away, which means by next Friday Smackdown, we need to have all our matches booked in so that they affect the overall attendance. However, there will be a couple things that I'm booking in that will get confirmed quotation marks on the final week of Survivor Series. And yeah, we'll just book them in off screen so that they count towards our attendance when we get to the show. If you have enjoyed that, please do leave a like down below. Let me know if you like this format generally or just for us to get caught up. And subscribe down below. Thank you very much for watching.